Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm sorry for delay in making and posting this video, but I went into work this weekend. So the good thing is that I'm off today. It's Monday, but I'm still going to go into work. Anyway, I want to address two important things. First of all, one, if you know me, you will know that I have always said to support Lanphier. Buy a brick, buy anything that they're selling that goes to a cause at the school that you believe in. Second of all, the most important thing of why I even got involved in this was to save anything that had to do with the school, especially in regards to alumni and teachers. I was told that anything that was not going to be used in the new school, especially in the way of trophies and sports things, would be returned to either the staff or the student, the alumni. Well, only a part of that has been proven to be true. I have proof that there were many things that were discarded. Now, before I go into this video, let me say that in no way do I think the Lanphier administration had anything to do with any of this stuff. Those people are the best people. Dr. Doss and his staff are awesome people. The support staff are awesome people. And I'm here to tell you, point blank, the district doesn't care. I'm not sure how long this video will be, but I want you to get the facts. There may be a lot of things that you've heard about me, things that have been said about me, most of which are untrue. I'm not surprised, though. At some point down the road, I'll probably post another video uh, and whatnot, but let's get into it. So, to give you all some quick background for those who don't know me, about 2 years ago, I came up with the initial Facebook group that I started for the alumni of 96. I started that group to bring all the class of 96 alumni together. At the same time, I started putting together plans of a 25th class reunion. At the same time, I realized that I could put together plans to save what would be called trash when Lanphier started the whole demolition and reconstruction business. And given the fact that I've been in construction for the last dozen years at least, and I've been on several demolition sites, I put all those ideas together. Now, going back a little bit, I put together 90s themed items to have an auction, if you would, at our class reunion as a way to give back money to Lanphier. Due to the fact that we didn't have very many alumni that showed up to the class reunion, I set all those items aside. They're still in the what I would call hidden boxes with the description written on them to use at a later date. And so I put together ideas, and I'm here to tell you that I reached out to people within the district, and I said, hey, can our class have a walkthrough? This was approved, and those in my class of 96 who showed up were given a walkthrough of the school. After that walkthrough, and even at the class reunion as it was going on, I thought, you know what? it would be really cool if the community as a whole could have a walkthrough, or even past alumni classes. So I reached out to people within the school district, meaning either Lanphier or District 186 offices, and I mentioned this to them. Well, for quite a while, nothing ever came of it. Now, our 25th class reunion, of course, would have been held last year, and it was, and nothing evolved from it. So in the interim, I started talking to a few of my classmates who I entrusted about ideas I had about things that could be saved at the school, such as, cabinets, possibly desks, lab desks, items like that, because on a demolition job site, you have usually a minimum of two separated piles. You have one that's considered what we call, in the area that I work in, construction debris, and the other one is salvageables, meaning scrap metal, stuff like that. Now, the scrap metal pile is usually separated into one or two other ones because different metals have different salvage price, like copper, steel, aluminum. I've been on 4 or 5 demolition sites, and it's always done like that. So anyway, some time had passed, and I got to thinking about a fair price. I came up with the idea of brick sales. The district did not come up with this idea. I mentioned it to a couple of people that are affiliated with the district. One is a district employee, one is a school board member, and all of a sudden, down the road, in June, I'm hearing, this person and this person came up with the idea of an auction and brick sale. That is not true. If the district would have came up with these ideas, they could have started planning all these things when they knew that the school was going to undergo partial demolition and reconstruction. They could have started when school ended. I had several meetings with an individual that is a district employee, and I brought up the idea of brick sales. The individual wanted to sell bricks for $10 each, and I had already mentioned this in several social media groups. The option of buying a brick by itself and a brick with a plaque. I don't know what everyone has heard. I've been told by a few people that different things I won't go into right now. But I came up with the idea of a price of $22 per brick that included a plaque with a general saying, unless you wanted a different saying, and it would have costed the same. And I will tell you how I came up with the price of $22. It's 2022, the year of the demolition started. The plaques would have cost anywhere from $5 to $7 a piece, depending on what sort of material you wanted your plaque done in. Either plastic, solid brass, flex brass, or black coated steel. That would have left Lanphier at the top end. Let's say that the plaque, let's just say for ease of math, $7. That would have left Lanphier $15 per brick that goes back to the school. Now, you may be hearing that I was going to sell the bricks to make a profit. That is incorrect. That is just false. I wouldn't have made any money from the bricks because none of the money would have been kept by me. The $5 to $7 price I was quoted per plaque was by a vendor in Springfield who told me that their time to get things done was looking at anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks. The district could have either reached out to the vendor, because I told them who it was when they asked me about having plaques made, because I made polls. I asked, what do you prefer, a plaque with your brick or just a plain brick? Most of you preferred a brick with a plaque. So it would have been $5 to $7, $15 would have gone back to Lanphier. And when I had an initial meeting with this individual that's a district employee, they wanted to sell bricks for $10 each without a plaque. That is a price I had mentioned on social media quite some time ago of just a plain brick. And I asked this individual if they were going to have it with a plaque for $10, because that would have only left $3 each per each brick going back to Lanphier, which would have shortchanged Lanphier and not even been worth it. And they said no. And I told this individual, I said, well, people want to buy a brick with a plaque for the most part. Now, this person, I had told them, and they said, well, they gave me dates of when the demolition of Gardner Gym would start, and told me around that time I would be able to pick up bricks. So I said, okay. Well, they've since totally just gone nuts on it. So anyway, going back to the walkthroughs, which were my idea, I brought it up to the school. I got to thinking about, the walkthroughs and the brick sales. A lot of people may not have social media. And that was told to me by a lot of people who came to the walkthrough. Now, they heard about the walkthrough through word of mouth or some other way. The district never had any spokesperson at any of the walkthroughs to get information from you, asking who wanted a brick. I was there at all 3 walkthroughs. I had a table set up for the last 2, showing bricks, showing the different plaque material that the vendor I was going to initially go with could make the plaques out of. Now, some people are saying that I had bricks from Gardner Gym. That's not true. If you think back to when the walkthroughs were done, which were prior to July, Gardner Gym was still standing. The 2 plaques that I displayed at the walkthrough that referenced Gardner Gym are ideas of a saying that I came up with for a plaque for Gardner Gym bricks. I'm the one who came up with the idea of the saying, as well as the vendor offered square plaques, and I asked if they could make one rounded to give people the option. Now, the individual that is a district employee said that the idea of a plaque was a great idea, and could reference that they came from Gardner Gym. Now, the district, I've said this from the start, doesn't care. Now, some people within the district may care, and I'm not talking about Lanphier. I'm talking about the district office. I had a meeting with this individual a few times, and this individual told me that their school and church had been torn down and nothing was ever done with any of that. It was also told to me twice that Lanphier is considered a Title I school, meaning they get money from the federal government. Well, that's true. They are a Title I school. But just because you're a Title I school does not mean that the funding you get covers every single thing, because it doesn't. I have friends who are teachers at Division I schools and non-Division I schools, and they both share something in common. They both end up coming out of pocket, or they have fundraisers to bring extra money into the school. Now, that has been my goal from the beginning of saving and selling things that will be considered trash, was to put money back into Lanphier. And I'll go over that in a minute. Anyway, I had asked many people on social media, what do you have an interest in? There was an overwhelming response of interest in what is considered trash if it's not removed from the building. People wanted doors, lockers, cabinets, desks. And there were things that it wasn't possible to get, like very old yearbooks, gym uniforms, stuff like that. So I approached people within the district and I said, hey, there's an interest in cabinets, doors, things like that. I was told that if I remove these items, I could not request district help or employee help because it wasn't their job to remove these items. Now, I said, fine, I'm willing to sign a waiver of, waiving just basically an injury accident waiver. One was never presented to me, so I typed up my own. Each time I was at the school removing things, I had that waiver with me. I'm a safety conscious person. Like I said, I've been in construction for at least a dozen years, so I understand worksite safety basically. I also was told by people within the district and people not attached to the district of deadlines of when construction was going to start, what section was going to come down when, and whatnot. So I had a limited amount of time, okay? What I took out initially was cabinets and doors. The slim doors that you saw my post of, which I would call in-the-wall cabinets, as well as wall-mounted cabinets, because I'm one person. Those items are easily removed and easily taken down because I'm one person, and I was always told, hey, we cannot give you district help or anything, or the employees can't help you because that's not what they're paid to do. So I was fine with that. As I was removing these items, I was told about other items. And some of those items I did remove, some of them I didn't, based on what people had an interest in. Some items were in trash cans ready to go out, like license plate frames, picture frames, and whatnot. I was told that if I didn't want those items, they were going to go out in the trash. Have you been by Lanphier lately? Have you seen the construction debris, the brick and concrete and building materials in one pile, and like I said, what's called salvage in another. I contacted someone outside of the district who knows about the construction of what's going on, and I was told that it was not in the bid for them to remove items from the school. I typed up a proposal in regards to cabinets, doors, and I even asked for an allotment of 50 lockers because that was what people wanted, and items that could have been easily saved that would have been sold, and the money would have been gone back to Lanphier. I was told by this person within the district basically that they didn't care, that couldn't be done. I'm here to tell you I had conversations with people outside the district and that are tied in with the construction. It could have been done. The district didn't care. I was told that they did not care. Now, talking about people outside of the district, they didn't care what happened to certain items up to a certain amount. Meaning, maybe 50 lockers, but not 500, because when you start taking a lot of stuff, you cut into the money that the contractor, subcontractor, whoever is doing the demolition gets from the salvage value of the different metals. I don't know what scrap prices are right now. I know that they're back down. But an allotment of 50 lockers, like I had mentioned, wouldn't have made a huge impact on the scrap value that the contractors or subcontractors would have gotten. Now, so I posted on social media, and I can say with 100% certainty that it was not anyone in any of the Lanphier-based groups that complained about me selling items. It was someone from a different group. I won't mention a group because it's a good group. There was just a couple of people who were upset that things didn't go how they wanted. Did I keep some of the money? I did. For example, the wall cabinets from the third floor I was selling for $45 each. I kept $10 of each cabinet. License plate frames I sold for $10 each. I kept $2 from each one. But I let everyone know, and it was in the posts, that I was going to keep some of the money of each item. Now, people may be hearing, or you may have been told, that I was doing this for my profit. People, if you know me, you know that that's not true. My heart in this is to give money back to Lanphier. I lost money doing this. Did I keep track of how much money I lost? No, but I can easily say it's at a minimum of probably $400 that I lost, just in money. Every time I came to Springfield in my truck, it was a minimum of $100 fuel. I paid for a storage unit to store these items, and there were other costs, mostly fuel and stuff like that. I took time off of work, or I was able to shift my work schedule around to where I could be there. Now, Lanphier is supposed to have an auction, or they're even doing the brick sales. Well, they're going to have to pay a district employee, which I don't know what they make per hour for the brick sales or all this stuff. If they do have an auction, they're going to have to pay an auctioneer. The amount of money that I kept was very, very, very minimal. It really didn't offset a lot, especially given that Springfield had such high gas prices. Now, so I was contacted by an individual who recommended that I contact this person. I'm not going to say names right now, but they took my ideas and they sold them as their own. And I know this for a fact because when I was removing one of the wall cabinets from the, I believe it was 304 or 306, a district employee walked in and asked me if I was with the Historical Society, and I said, no, I'm just a student that's here taking down a few items to sell to alumni to give money back to the school. And this person told me that, and they mentioned two names, came up with the idea of brick sales and an auction and sale. I told this individual that that wasn't true, that I'm the one that came up with this idea starting as early as 2 years ago. And they just couldn't believe it. And they kept going into how this person had mentioned this and mentioned that. Every single thing that I talked to one of these 2 to 3 people affiliated with the school district that I mentioned was either removed for sale or is going to be sold. That is hardwood flooring, bleachers, things like that. And I just couldn't believe it because here demolition had started and the district hadn't done anything. Now, I was in 308 or 310. Another individual came in and they thought I was with the Historical Society. I told them the same thing. I said, no, I'm just taking down this wall cabinet. And they said, oh, we thought maybe you were going to take some of the intercom speakers because Lanphier is the first high school that had an intercom system. I didn't see anyone from the school district saving any of these intercom speakers. Even if Lanphier wasn't the first high school to use an intercom system, you would think that a few of them would have been kept until it could have been researched if Lanphier was the first school. So on this same weekend, let me get to a point. So there's a certain, let me say a minimum of one individual up to possibly 2 or 3 that have told people that I did not have permission to remove these items. Well, I discussed what I wanted to remove. It was told to me that I couldn't ask for district employees' help because it wasn't their job. On top of that, I was never told who had the ultimate authority to say yes or no. I was told when demolition was going to start at what areas, so I had a very limited amount of time. I will tell you that there was a 3-day weekend where there was a lot of removal of items from Lanphier. I helped people load items from the school into their personal vehicles who kept those items either for themselves or to sell. I don't know what the people did with the items. I could go down a list of what I helped people load up and what they took home, but that's not important really. I was just glad that some of the items weren't going to go in the trash and that they were going to be saved and reused or maybe even sold. I didn't care. I helped one person, and this is the part that kind of hurt me. I helped an individual carry down a recycle bin of galvanized shelving that was used, if you're familiar with the different classrooms with the in-the-wall cabinets, a lot of them use these galvanized steel shelves. I helped this individual carry down this tote with galvanized steel shelving and microscopes in it. And I made a joke because there were 4 to 6 microscopes in this tote. And I said, "Oh, what kind of experiment are you working on?" And the individual said that they weren't. They were taking the microscopes for scrap. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that, the shelves I could understand, because that's going to be, when all that stuff is torn down, that's going to go into the scrap pile outside in the parking lot. The microscopes, I couldn't understand why those weren't donated to possibly like the Boys and Girls Club, maybe a school, or even sold. But you know what? I helped the individual carry him down. Where they went after I helped put them in their vehicle, I don't know. Now, going back to the thing of I wasn't given permission by those who could give me permission to take down trash. I have 2 pieces of paper of items that I was told that if I wanted, I could take, because if I didn't, they were going to go to the trash. One label has trash written on it, or piece of paper. The other piece of paper has storage/trash with a question mark. I was told all items in that area were trash. Yes, I did take some of them. Now, this individual said that I didn't have permission to remove these items. Well, if you don't have permission to remove something or to take something, that's considered theft. But yet, the individual told me in an email, and if anyone wants proof, I will gladly copy emails, phone logs, whatever. This person told me that they didn't want to get the police involved because they knew that I had a good heart in all this, which is why I'm doing it. But I will tell you why they didn't get the police involved. Because I told them, and I've got proof, that I'm sure that the police department would like to know about these other people who removed items, either for themselves or to sell, but yet the district wasn't going after these people. So, for whatever reason, the district goes, I guess, to their attorney, the district attorney, and gets a no trespass order against me. Well, there's a few problems with that. First of all, according to the statute, a no trespass warning can only be issued after a person is told that they cannot be at a certain location. I was never told that. I was never told that. If I would have been told, I wouldn't have gone back. So, because that part was ignored, that makes their no trespass warning void. I'm still wondering why they're coming after me, because I'm sure that, and like I said, what the other people that I help load stuff with up their vehicles of stuff from the school, I'm glad that the stuff was saved, because somebody got a use for it. I removed items for an individual at the school that were going to be removed through demolition, which meant that they were unsavable. Now, I will get to this last point before I end this video. It's about 35 minutes already. I go back to the most important thing to me was the saving of items or the return of items that will not be used in the reconstruction of Lanphier. I was told on several occasions that anything not used in the new school would be returned to the alumni or the staff that was mentioned, or that it belonged to, or whatnot. Only a part of that is true. One day I was leaving the school and I saw something shiny sticking out of the dumpster, one of the dumpsters at the school. Now, it wasn't like a mirror or anything like that, but I could tell it was something shiny. So I stopped just out of curiosity. Well, I found 4 plaques that belonged to a teacher. The teacher's name, and let me just say the teacher's name, was clearly written on one of these plaques. I didn't have this teacher when I went to Lanphier, but I didn't care about that. I removed, it was 4 or 5 items, and I put them together. And I reached out to the teacher, and I have since returned those items to that teacher. I just couldn't believe that, these items that were clearly marked with the teacher's name, the teacher had retired, but still, these items were not saved to be returned to the teacher. Now, that was one of my most important tasks that I was trying to do, was to make sure that anything that belonged to a teacher or a staff member was given back. And the district didn't do that fully. Now, there are employees of the district that went through Lanphier, and they did remove items to put in the storage for the new school. There are a lot of items that were thrown away, which proves really almost 2 things. 1, the district didn't care, and 2, I was lied to, because one of my 2 points out of this whole thing was to save these items and get them back to who they involved. Like I said before, I don't blame Dr. Doss or any of his staff, teachers, support staff, or anything, because those people are excellent people. They're awesome people. Now, so I got to thinking about things at the school, and I asked the teachers, I said, hey, has anybody from the district been here to take a staff picture of everyone? And they said no. I was told that the district had sent over someone, or had someone go to the school to take pictures of the building. So I thought, I'll ask a couple other teachers and staff. Maybe the person I asked wasn't here when they had a staff picture. The district will tell you that they care about Lanphier, but they don't. No one had sent over anyone to take a staff picture. A school is a building, and that's it until you have teachers and support staff. Then it becomes a school. So I gathered up all the staff that was there on the last day of school, and I took their picture. The other thing that was kind of upsetting to me and that I always wondered about was the memorial on the 11th Street side of the building to the young man that lost his life a couple years ago. There was no permanent monument, which saddened me because, the young man deserves that. I had came up with an idea of a memorial kind of to him, and also a gathering point using items from the school that are going to be going to the landfill that could be placed in different areas on the what I call the new campus of Lanphier. But yet the district doesn't care enough to put up even a long-term thing from when it happened, even though the construction was going to happen. A permanent monument could have been made and moved. Now, two other things, and I promise I'll close this video. So I called the district office on Wednesday and spoke with an individual, and I told him that I did not appreciate my ideas being sold to others, not sold monetarily, but just saying, hey, we came up with this idea, and they didn't. This individual told me that they had sold bricks from schools before, but yet everyone I talked to had never heard of District 186 selling bricks. But if they did, that's all fine and well. But what two of the individuals who took credit for my ideas, what they did is considered intellectual property theft. Now, it's one thing to use someone's idea and to build on it, but when you start taking credit for it and saying, hey, we came up with this idea when you didn't, that's when you do what's called intellectual property theft. Now, I will tell you that there are people within the school that I talked to, and I shared my ideas about saving things. They are using my idea. The only difference is that they're not taking claim, or they're not claiming my idea that I share with them as their own. They're just taking my idea and building on it. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get into, like I said, when you get into, it's almost like plagiarism. When you get in and I shared my ideas, not thinking that someone would take credit for them, even though I'm not here to get credit. I'm not here for a pat on the back or an attaboy or anything like that. My whole thing was to get money for the school, for programs. But when you have people who are affiliated with District 186, and I'm not talking about Lanphier High School, I'm talking about people affiliated with District 186 who are saying that they came up with ideas that I shared with them to save things, that's when you create intellectual property theft. Now, I am going to look into what can be done about that. And so if you bought, or if you're going to buy an item from me, I had a receipt book there. And when you purchased something, two amounts were written down. The amount that you paid for the item and the amount of money that went to Lanphier. I also asked you if there was a class or a program that you wanted the Lanphier portion of the money to go to. I didn't direct you in any way. I just asked. And if you said yes, I said, well, please put that down. Many of you just said wherever the money is needed the most. Some of you have said facts, which is family and consumer science. Some of you said band. Some said baseball. And I believe that there was another one. Well, I've since learned that Lanphier or the district is going to sell bricks. They are telling me that they can't guarantee that everyone who signed up for a brick or reached out to me through social media is going to get a brick, and that's just not right. Having said that, they're selling the bricks for $15 each, and the district has chosen where your money is going to go. I don't know if they're going to split the proceeds of the brick sales 50-50 or what, but I was told that the money from the brick sales, $15 per brick, which is basically the price that Lanphier would have gotten if they would have been sold for $22 with a plaque, is either going to go to the building and trades classes or the sports boosters. Both of those programs are excellent programs. I've talked to and I've met with both of, let me just say I've talked to people affiliated with both of those things. That's awesome. But here's the thing. If you buy a brick, you should be able to choose where you want your money to go to. Let's say that you're a past alumni of 30, 40 years ago. Well, sports was around, but they didn't have building and trades. They didn't even have building and trades when I went there in the mid-90s, okay? You should be able to say, hey, I want my money to go to this. I want my money to go to that. As I just said, both of those programs are great. But it's your money. You should be able to say, hey, I want it to go there. Just like when you bought something from me, trash, as it was labeled at the school, the money that you asked me, hey, put it toward this, Jay, or Jay, we want it to go here. Guess what? After Labor Day, I will take another video. I'm going to have a minimum of 4 money orders, postal money orders made out to whoever wanted their money to go to a certain thing. Now, some may only get like $8, but still, that's where you wanted it to go. That's where I'm going to make it out to. Now, let's say that your student isn't in building and trades and they're not in sports. Well, what about the other things? What about the band or music? Or do they have madrigals still? What about the art class when they take trips to art museums? I go back to this employee of the district saying, well, Lanphier is Title I. They get all their funding through the government. Well, if that was true, there wouldn't be things such as fundraisers and things like that. I also brought up the idea at the first walkthrough of a time capsule to where anyone could put an item in the time capsule to be opened however many years they want to open it down the road for the new construction. One is currently in the Commons area that was placed there in 1998. The district didn't come up with that idea for a time capsule. Not even anyone at the school had came up with that idea. But yet when I mentioned it, they said, oh yeah, that's a great idea. But yet they didn't, when they did post about it on social media, a lot of people didn't know about it until they got to the walkthrough and they saw that we had a box set up that was for a time capsule. And people said, well, if we would have known, we would have brought something. If you want something to be placed in the time capsule, please reach out to me. And I will do everything humanly possible to get your item in that time capsule. If it if it's refused, I will get your item back to you. You ask anybody that knows me through this whole thing, I stand on my word, and if I say I'm going to do something, or at least try to do it, I will do my due diligence. I would have taken this video yesterday and posted it, but like I said, I had to go into work. But in regards to the brick sales, I don't know how they're going to handle it, but I encourage you that it's $15 per brick. Buy one brick, buy however many you want. I've got $3,000. I want to buy 200 bricks. So hopefully someone who is in charge of the brick sales will reach out to me, because I have $3,000. I would like to buy 200 bricks. And if you want to see the money to make sure that I'm not lying, as district employees have tried to say or whatnot, I will gladly take a video and show you the money. But I would encourage you that if you buy a brick, pay with a check or a money order, and put in the memo section where you want your money to go. Yes, the building and trades classes is an awesome class. I'm in construction. It's an awesome program. The same with the sports program. It's an awesome program, but like I said, if you don't have a student that's in one of those, what about your money? Your money counts. You know, even if you're one person, and let's say one person, you want your $15, which is what Lanphier would have gotten if they would have gone with the $22 price, meaning you would have gotten a brick with a plaque. Your $15, even if one person says, I want $15 to go to, let's say, the art class, or chemistry class, or any program, maybe, whatever. Your money counts regardless of if it's $15 or $500. Now, I'm asking someone to reach out to me. I want to buy 200 bricks. That's $3,000. At $15 a brick, that's $3,000. I want my money to be divided up 4 ways. Yes, to the building and trades. Yes, to the sports boosters. But I also have 2 other things that I would like to see my money go to. Well, I appreciate your time. The district is doing everything they can to silence me. They don't want people to know the truth, and that they didn't come up with any of these ideas. Like I said, I have proof through email and everything like that, that until I had said something to individuals at the district office, none of this was being talked about. None of it. I'm working on something big for next year that will benefit any school in Sangamon County. I'm not going to go into that, because apparently some people like to do what I said is called intellectual property theft. So I'm not going to go into that right now. But, go out, support Lanphier. If it's on your heart and you just want to make a cash donation to a program or a class, do that. I was hoping to be more involved, since it was my ideas about the bricks and the sale of the hardwood flooring and the bleachers and all that stuff. But the district, because I had proof that they didn't come up with ideas, now have kind of blocked me. But let's go Lions!